back on live on the same YouTube link. If not, we will get that figured out. I'll get in the chat with the going for two folks. So for the next couple hours, I'll be here. My name is Brian Ford. You can find me at FFJunkie _ with me right now, at least for a good chunk of time here, is my co-host from Dynasty Fever, Jesse Schneeman. Jesse, how you doing?
Hey, Brian. Brian, wake up. It's
I'm tired.
It's second Christmas, dude.
It's also the end of the week, and I'm tired. And I thought this thing was starting at 8:00. And right before I got on here, I made the mistake of going on Twitter, and everybody knows everything about what's going to happen with this guy and all the target shares and what the coaches are going to do. And this guy's buried. And it's like, yo, the ink isn't even dry on the picks. And people are like, I can't with Dynasty Twitter is like, honestly, like, I'm getting sick of it. Like, it's just hot take artists, just like, hey, let's say this thing and overreact to this, and this guy's tight end 2 now. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway,
yeah. Let's give some real takes. Got my boy Jamie in the chat.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? You are an Eagles fan. Are you happy with the pick at 32?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy.
31. No, you traded up. Yeah.
I'm happy with whatever Howie does. I'm not allowed to complain. All I can do is just sit back and appreciate his greatness, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So apparently, he isn't as great as we thought last night when we were texting. I learned later that he basically got lucky. I forget that he was, I think, trying to trade up before or something, and I don't know.
Been trying to trade up for a while, all through the 20s. I don't know. It sounds like he got unlucky.
I guess, yeah. So, what'd you think of night 1 before we get into anything with the top round 2?
Tremendous, except for my 2 heartbreaks, but everybody else was great. Ibuka going to Tampa is just a heartbreaker. I've been thinking about it all day, man. It really hurts.
I don't know. I'm not as down as you are, but we were talking about that before earlier today. I mean, when you think about, neither Godwin nor Evans are all that young. One coming off a major injury, and then with the other competition being Otten, McMillan, and who's now kind of buried. I think they're good. I think they're going to move Ibuka and Godwin inside out, flip them around and stuff. I think they're good. I mean, I think they're going to be fine. Is it maybe more of a 2026 play in the sense that like you'll really start to see the value next year instead of this year? Sure, but I wouldn't describe it as heartbroken. I mean, you got a good offense. You got Baker,
but then Baker's another year older. He's already 30. With a defensive head coach, they keep losing their offensive coordinators. Just at some point, it feels like the wheels fall off, and I don't know, man. If I could wait on a guy that I thought was just safe and an instant starter, plug and play, fantasy points, and now I got to wait on him. If his ceiling is limited and I have to wait on that ceiling, he's got to drop for me.
I think he drops for me in best ball, but like he could totally be a top 36 wide receiver in fantasy.
Sure, I'm not drafting that guy in the first round of a rookie draft.
But that's kind of what, late first round of rookie drafts end up being. I think we overestimate what we get from.
I'd rather have Golden.
Okay, so that was the next thing I was going to ask you is relative to Golden being in Green Bay, which is being interpreted a number of ways. So you'd rather have Golden?
Yeah, I have not. I don't plug into other people and what they have to say, especially this early. I have my own thoughts. So I see Golden as a perfect fit for exactly this. He's exactly what they need. It's exactly what they lost in Christian Watson, right? A fast outside receiver, can beat press and can't catch.
I agree. I agree to an extent, except he can catch. And,
no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. All right. So I mean, my my first reaction was, okay, awesome. He fits right in. They get another wide receiver too, but he fits the exact role that they need, right? And I think he's a more complete player. He's a more singular talent than any of the other guys that they have. He fills a more specific role, whereas Jaden Reed just isn't going to play that role that everybody wants him to. He's going to be close to the line of scrimmage, getting the ball in his hands. Some games it's going to be 0 volume. Some games it's going to be 11 touches. And then Romeo Doubs is a guy. He's there.
I see Golden as filling, yes, a bit of that Watson role, but yeah, you got to remember Watson's like he's a big dude, and Golden's build is closer to like the Jaden Reed build, the Romeo Doubs build. So I think he's got he'll do some things like Jaden Reed, especially because LaFleur will use motion, which got Golden free releases in college. He'll do some things that Doubs does, and he'll do some things that Watson does. What I wanted to see him go to, as a 1B or 2A in like a Jordan Addison type role with like a clear alpha. I didn't want him in this kind of thing because this to me is pretty murky. It's tough for me to be as enthusiastic about Golden as I was going into it. Yeah.
No, I really like it. I think he's a much more complete player than Christian Watson. He can actually run a route and get open. He's nasty, and he can beat press on the outside. I saw it with my own eyes in college.
I don't disagree with any of that. I guess what I'm saying is like, I thought the Packers needed more of, let's say a Jaden Higgins, a bigger, sort of truer X kind of guy. Even though I think Higgins shouldn't be playing X. I didn't think they needed a Golden. I think they kind of had Golden as like a little bit of Doubs and a little bit of Reed and a little bit of Watson, and you get Golden. I guess what I'm saying is the role overlap. The ways these guys win overlap.
I guess I see Golden differently than you do. I all along have seen him as an outside receiver. I think I compared him to Jeremy Maclin last time we talked.
Mm-hmm.
Just a really good route runner, gets open on the outside, beats press. And really every team has a need for that. But especially the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do. Having him on the line of scrimmage and having the threat of the deep ball with him allows LaFleur to just screw around and play with all the little stuff underneath that he wants to.
Okay. Yeah, no, that I can see. He that part of his game he does better than pretty much anybody who's on the Packers. That I agree with for sure. I guess if I would have liked him in, I guess just a few other landing spots better. Like a lot of people were talking about Dallas. I would have liked him there better. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. I mean, it's not perfect, but I like it better than Abukas.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, I had them neck and neck really before this. So, if I'm flipping Golden over Buka for now, I don't think that's egregious at all. So Hunter and his impact on the Jacksonville offense and Brian Thomas Jr. It's interesting, to me, this is one of those, we talk about this a lot, is the offensive pie going to grow, or is this like a blah, blah, blah target, share problem, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, man, I'm just betting on this offense. He's got Liam Cohen. You got these two studs, it's going to be fine. They're going to score touchdowns.
Don't forget how
confident quarterback, they're going to be fine.
Generational, Trevor Lawrence was as a prospect.
Yeah.
But I every offense needs more than one receiver. You know, every offense needs two receivers, and both these guys are great. I think they'll complement each other really, really well.
Yeah, I heard a couple people talking about dinging BTJ like a tad, like in redraft, maybe from the late first to say the mid second. And I'm thinking to myself, he was eaten with nobody else for the defense to worry about, and Mac Jones as his quarterback.
Yeah.
And neither of those things are true now. So
I'm not worried about Brian
yeah,
Thomas Jr.
yeah.
Ooh, Ferguson.
Okay. I mean, as far as
Early.
like a landing spot for just about anybody, you want them with the Rams. Um, what do you think about immediate reaction to being on a competent offense with a quarterback like that and a tight end room that is an aging Higbee, a meh Parkinson, and then Davis Allen,
I
etc.
just moves him really, really far up my board. I mean, I was not high on Ferguson, but now, I mean, given the measurables, the athletics, the tape wasn't great for me. But
Mhm.
if if McVay likes him, wants to take him in the second round, then he's probably a mid second round rookie pick all day for me now.
Okay. Versus, how do you see him now versus Mason Taylor on the Jets with Fields?
I like that fit a lot. The problem is, aren't the Jets kind of cursed with tight ends? I mean, I know that's not real analysis, but
They're
that's the only
cursed.
thing.
Period. End of
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah, true. That's. I mean, that's all that really would scare me. But no, I love Mason Taylor there. Jason named his son Mason, by the way.
They rhyme.
Weird. So if I had a son, I'd name him Messi.
Yeah, and I'd name mine Crying
Nice.
because listen, if you're gonna be my son, you're gonna do a lot of crying.
Yeah, I I have Mason above Ferguson.
Yeah.
I think he's a better player.
hmm Going into this, I had just a big tier of 3 to 7 after the top two, and it was like I was a little more confident in Arroyo and Mason Taylor, and then I kind of had Fannin as like the midpoint of that tier, as and then Ferguson and Helm below that, just because that's just the way I just was arranging them in my brain, and draft capital and landing spot would determine a lot. And if you're going to put Ferguson with McVay and Stafford, like, then yeah, he's moving up that tier for sure. Yeah.
Right. I'm not really surprised that Arroyo's dropping, to be honest. I had questions how the NFL would view him, especially with the injuries. Not a huge opportunity to really put up numbers.
hmm
I mean, what's out there is really good. He looks great, but if they're not comfortable with the medicals, not having the production, not surprised that they liked a couple other players better. And what Mason Taylor's been getting huge buzz the last couple weeks. Jeremiah loved him.
Yeah.
McVay loved him.
Yeah.
Like
Some
McVay
people are
loved
mocking him late first. Yeah.
him. Yeah. Right. Yes. I think. Yeah. Yeah. An Eagles beat writer had him mocked to the Eagles with that 32nd pick.
Mm.
So
no, you go ahead.
Back to Hunter real quick.
Yeah.
Is he your rookie pick 102 or 103?
I was just warming up to 102 before last night. I think I'm fine with it. The way I see it is I'm not going to argue too much with anybody when it comes to a tier of Hunter, Tet, and Ward.
Oh, okay. So my next question is Hampton your 103?
No.
Okay. So
I just don't like Hampton as much as everybody else. I was always Henderson's better than him. And to tell you the truth, like, I don't know that I have too much to, think otherwise, even with these landing spots. Again, because like I said, Dynasty Twitter is going to be the death of me with everybody already sure how everything's going to work out.
I love. Well, all right. I'll put it this way. I like Hampton. I love Hampton on the Chargers, and McShay loved Hampton coming in. So that holds a lot of weight for me. Like now that he's on his own, and there's nobody at ESPN telling him what to say or what not to say.
Yeah.
I really love what he has to say, to be honest.
Oh yeah, he's fun, but he also had Tet ranked 50. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, so not that I know more than he does. I'm just saying, it's a little about that.
On the Chargers in the first round with Najee Harris as his competition is wheels up.
Okay, so will you allow me to make the devil's advocate?
Oh, of course, yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Okay. Number one, questions about his vision. 2, questions about his wiggle and how sufficient it is, versus him being more of a north south downhill guy. Number three, I think people are overrating him as a receiver. I think he's a much better receiver than, say, Caleb Johnson. But people are like, checks this box. Really good receiver. I'm like, really? Okay. And
he's
six,
a receiver. He
yeah,
can catch.
yeah. There's three buckets when it comes to running backs and receivers. You're either a liability, you're competent, or you can be used as a weapon. And there's a spectrum within each of those tiers. Like, I think Henderson can be used as a weapon, but I don't think he's Gibbs, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, and then 604 touches the last 2 years in college for Hampton. And he's going to be getting in 15 to 20 car wrecks a game.
Mhm.
And it's, I think, well within the range of outcomes that they're going to have Najee do at least some of the pass catching duties and some of the goal line stuff, especially early in the season. So, I mean, again, it's this devil's advocate, but
Sure.
when you think about the fact that this is a down class overall, and even in a regular season, picks 21 to 50 are the same draft capital bucket as far as NFL GMs go. Like, Hampton going at 22 to the Chargers and Henderson going at, 38 to New England. I don't see it as like this like definitive, NFL told me so gap. I just don't see it that way.
Well,
And it
okay.
remains to be seen. Like, Henderson on 12 touches a game, given the fact that we're playing in PPR. Like, remember, this is not NFL scouting. Like, can be just as good as Hampton will be on 18 touches a game.
So Hampton has always, for me, through this process, been if he goes to the right offense, wheels up. If he goes to the right offense that is going to use him properly to his strengths, he's going to be excellent. He's going to be really good back. And to me, that happened. Uh, what Harbaugh wants is a north-south runner. He wants no messing around,
Yeah.
hit the gap, go. He wants a Jonathan Taylor type. He doesn't really need wiggle. I mean, he had Gus Edwards and the husk of J.K. Dobbins' knee out there, like the scabs from his knee were actually trying to run the ball out there. So I mean, when you get somebody with actual juice that doesn't get run down from behind like Dobbins did so many times last
Yeah.
year, I mean, it's going to be nasty, man. And even if Najee gets some run, Hampton is just going to eat. I mean, I would say this is back to Herbert fears. Is Herbert now going to get the volume?
See, I don't know. Like, we were all saying that last year, and I get that. Okay, so first of all, by the way, for everybody screaming at their phone and their computer, I'm making the devil's advocate case for Hampton. Right now, I would cut that tier off at 4. Hampton and Henderson would be very close, and probably if I had a 5 and I really like Henderson that much, maybe I'll trade back to a 6. Like, I know he's going to go ahead. I'm not, and I like Hampton a lot. He's been my RB3 since the jump. So it's not like I don't like Hampton. I'm just saying that the idea that he was ever the 102, or that, like, he's this clearly definitively better bet than, these other guys like, Judkins and Henderson. I just, especially Henderson, I'm not saying. All
Well,
right.
they both got great landing spots as well. So,
So, yeah,
objectively, the Browns were Judkins' number one. Like, there's no better landing spot for him.
right. And I think that, although I will say that for the people who were making the case that, Judkins can catch a few passes, like, when you have Jerome Ford for pass catching and explosives, like, you're not really going to be asking him to do it much. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I think that part of the, range of outcomes is not there when it comes to Judkins. Yeah.
He'll catch some passes in a Brian Robinson-esque kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'll catch, if he catches averages 2-3 catches a game with everything else he's doing, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine for him to be a mid to low end RB1 in Dynasty.
So back to Herbert, right? we said last year, oh, Jim Harbaugh, high testosterone. He's going to run the piss out of the ball. Does he even know what the forward pass is? And it's like, I mean, okay, fine. I will agree the personnel there might not have been as good as the personnel they have there now in the backfield, but, they were still, fine as far as pass rate over expectation goes and
As the
things like
season
that.
went
Yeah.
along. To start the season, not so much, but
True.
I think it was after the bye. I'm not 100% sure, but they kind of flipped the switch, and opened it up a little more. I think they started to trust Ladd more, and I'm pretty sure they started working Judkin or Johnston out of the offense, or he was just hurt at that point. But not having Quentin Johnston in there actually helped them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It strikes me that their offense is going to be opportunistic, and what the defense is giving them, they'll kind of shove down the throat, but it really doesn't set up as a high volume passing offense.
Okay. Herbert or Trevor Lawrence?
Herbert.
Herbert or Bo Nix?
Herbert.
Okay. Herbert or JJ McCarthy?
Herbert for sure.
Herbert or Brock Purdy?
Herbert.
Okay. Herbert or Patrick Mahomes?
Mahomes.
Herbert or CJ Stroud?
Herbert.
Okay.
But he's in a tier with a lot of those guys. He's just the leader of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically, I have Stroud and Mahomes ahead of him, and then everybody else I named below him. So he's right there. Yeah.
Stroud has to be so perfect because of the way his style. He just has to be so perfect that last year spooked me a little.
I gotcha. I mean, I don't know. I'm making a bet with the OC didn't know what the I'm just gonna say didn't know what the heck he's doing. Who the hell am I? I'm some fat ass on a couch. But
he just didn't adjust well.
Yeah, he didn't adjust. Like he was running too much on early downs. The offensive line fell apart. So like, if we tweak a few things, it's back to Stroud throwing to Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, and now Jaden Higgins. Like,
but from listening to people that I trust, Brett Coleman and the like, he didn't have a plan for protection. Like he did not have an offensive line protection plan. Like it was not good.
The OC, you're saying? Slowick. Yeah. Okay.
So, and that was his big downfall.
Oh,
I mean, you can run all the Shanahan hits that you want. You can play the top 50 hits, but if you can't protect the quarterback, then
And they just took a couple picks ago. They took Ariante Ursary, who some people had a first round grade on. So they're starting to plug those holes. They got a few more picks from trading with the Giants. So I don't know. Like maybe the needle that Stroud is threading is narrower.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I just think maybe the ceiling is a little higher. But again, same tier, like 9, 10, 11. I have Stroud, Mahomes, Herbert. Like, I'm not going to argue with people.
The ceiling for Herbert, if surrounded by with the right weapons, which they don't seem to want to do, is through the roof. He as a player, he has more potential in that arm than but 3 quarterbacks together in the league, and they can't equal Herbert.
For sure. I'd be very interested to see what Peyton and the Broncos are up to here at 51 with the two with Henderson off the board and Hampton off the board, 2 guys that people were sort of wish casting to Denver. And of course, not that Judkins was being wish casted there, but he's off the board. I don't think Peyton and his offense is a Caleb Johnson destination. So be interesting to see what happens because he did say they want to address running back in the draft. I'm going to take a look here at a couple other questions that I wanted to ask you. Let's talk about Loveland and the Bears.
Sorry, I just dropped my entire world. Everything's falling apart.
Okay, it's all right. It's all right. So
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
As far as I'm concerned, like Loveland's, how can I put it? I think that there's a Venn diagram where there were some skills that overlap with Tyler Warren. I basically had them even. I had to have Warren a hair ahead in my rankings. That's about it. Because I have to stack them vertically, so you have to put one in front of the other. And so the idea that Warren could play inline in today's NFL, I just had him a hair ahead of Loveland. I don't care one way or the other. Like Loveland's good enough inline that if he had to do it, he could do it. But now when we look at these landing spots, one seems a lot better than the other. The issue with Loveland, on the surface, Loveland to the Bears, love it. He's their slot wide receiver. Like I don't see a Dalton Kincaid run out in the range of outcomes with this guy. I think he's closer to what Laporta was than people might think. For me though, there's just a lot of spinning plates in Chicago. So first off, you've got a rookie who's coming back from, or second year guy who's coming back from PTSD in his rookie year as a quarterback because he was just abused by the coaching staff. Not that he didn't do anything wrong, but you got that. You got a new head coach, new offense getting installed. You've got competent pass catchers to compete with, and there's just a lot going on there. And, I don't know that I'm thinking it's like going to hit as early as some folks might expect. I saw a couple people saying he's already in the top 3 dynasty tight ends. I don't know. And now people are ready to bury Roma Dunze because Chicago took the second coming of Malachi Corley with Luther Burden. So we are getting a little bit into the too many mouths to feed territory. I know it's lazy, but that's starting to, I don't know, look a little more credible than maybe it was before.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, with Burden going there as well, it's not all ideal. Although Elijah Arroyo to the Seahawks, by the way.
Just saw that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he didn't slide that far. I honestly am not a huge Burden fan.
Neither am
I. If he wants to, if they want to use him as their gimmick guy, great. Have fun. He may take a little attention away from the other guys, but every team has 4 competent targets.
Yeah.
I like Loveland. I mean, actually, let's go back to Warren real quick.
Sure.
If Anthony Richardson is going to break fantasy, then Warren should be pretty good, right?
You're quoting me about Anthony Richardson.
I am, sir.
So this is my vision for the Colts. You ready?
Sure.
We're going to call it 42 personnel or the Delaware high T. This is what you do, all right?
Okay.
You got your offensive lineman. The other 2 guys in the line of scrimmage are Mo Alley Cox and Jelani Woods. And then across 4 guys in the backfield, Warren, Richardson, Dimes, JT. You never know who the ball's getting snapped to.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. That's fun. The 42.
42 personnel. Yeah. Which, is the answer to everything in the universe, right?
Yeah. So it's really disappointing for Warren. He falls to like high second round. He's just behind Ibuka for me.
I don't know that I can take him out of the first in a premium.
Oh yeah, no, I will absolutely. I mean,
all right, so
he's going to start out with a running back throwing the ball to him, and then it's going to be Danny Dimes.
You're breaking my heart. Stop calling Anthony Richardson a running back.
I mean, I'm just calling him like I see him, buddy.
Yeah, check your vision. So,
he needs to check his vision.
All right, so so we have my 4 that I said before. Let's say Hampton, Hendo are in there. Judkins is in there, so that's 7 guys already.
Golden
is 8. All right.
Dart has to be a late first.
Really? Yeah. He was already a late first for me, but I don't know that I'm taking him ahead of any of the tight ends.
No, Loveland's probably next for me.
Okay.
Well,
Loveland, Dart. What are we up to? 9 now?
9. I think Dart would be 10, which is what I said going in, that I thought I could see if the Giants traded up to get Dart, I could see him as 110.
All right. So you've got 2 picks left, and neither of them are Ibuka and Warren?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still got Dylan Sampson. Still got Cam Scattaboo. I don't know that there's a wide receiver that's gonna. I don't know that Jalen Noel is gonna get there for me, even though I
No,
love him. I love him.
I like it more
Really
than
do.
Higgins.
I think he's gonna be more of a mid to late third round guy. Not a volume type of receiver. His profile is not a volume type of receiver. He could be a very frustrating fantasy player.
I think he can handle volume.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see what the NFL thinks, but
Yeah.
he's just, something about his profile strikes me as that the NFL will see it that way. I could be wrong.
I think the issue that he's having is I want to say the worst part of his game is something that a lot of NFL teams will value, and it's the yak. He's got a little bit of Tyler Lockett in him. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
Yeah,
crisp routes, speed, good hands. Probably plays a little bigger than his size, but like you're not getting much after the catch.
right. And when you have Royals and Trey Harris and even Kyle Williams has some really nice yak ability.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Mm.
But I can't get any of those guys into the first, no matter where they go at this point. What about Higgins for you? For me, no, but Higgins just went to the Texans at the top of the second.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just saw him. Someone said I think they're ranking just the guys as they're drafted, and they have him at 14, which is what essentially is the 202. I was lower. I mean, I liked Noel ahead of Higgins, but I was fine with either of them, in around the mid-second or so. I'm curious about this fit in Houston though. So my contention with Higgins has always been he needs to play big slot. We didn't get a chance to talk about this much because I think when we talked, you hadn't watched this film yet.
Yeah, I mean, I have now, and I do. I agree that he would be an excellent big slot, but I think he can play outside as well. As a full-time play outside as an X receiver, is asking a lot from him.
Yeah.
So he can play out there some.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. Like if he's only going to be outside, then he's not quite sacrificial. It's.
But now he doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Right.
With the Texans, you got Nico out there, and that's a man that can handle it outside full time.
Right. And, I think Kirk has shown that he can play outside a little bit, so they can probably flip flop Kirk and Higgins a little bit.
And you only need one guy on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. I guess I've been traumatized though, because I liked Xavier Hutchinson, and he's from Iowa State and he went to the Texans, so.
Yeah. Well, I liked John Mechie, and that didn't turn out either.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean I think he's slots in as their wide receiver 2.5, let's say. Him and Kirk are there in 11 personnel for sure.
I like him. Yeah, all right, so I guess the only other player we can talk about getting into the first for me would be Shador. If something is still to happen in the second round here.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that Tyler Shuck is not in your first round conversation?
Oh man, do I love Tyler Shuck! I can't wait to watch him play for the Saints. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. But no, hell no. He's like a 207 kind of guy for me.
I will say this. Well, okay, that's a little later than I thought, right? Because some people were taking Bo Nix between like the whatever 110 and 204 last year, and he was thought of more highly as a prospect. Shuck, as far as we can think, is going to be a day one starter from what we can see right now.
He'll be 29 on a rookie. contract. He'll be
I'm not
30 when
I'm
that
not I'm
rookie
not disagreeing
contract.
with that, but like
It-
when I think about rookie picks, I'm thinking about what's the value going to look like a year and a half from now. I'm not too worried
yeah,
about he's going to be 29, and he's a quarterback. It'll be fairly insulated as a starting quarterback in a super flex. I mean, not that I'm not like pounding the table that he needs to be higher than 207, but that surprised me a little bit. I'm not
you
a
really
huge
think he's
fan.
gonna? Yeah, I mean, I guess he is going to be a day one starter, so that has to carry a lot of weight. I mean, it's crazy that those words are coming out of my mouth when I didn't know who he was 2 months ago,
Yeah.
and if I actually didn't find out about him to the combine.
Really?
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, personally, I hadn't, I don't dive deep into quarterbacks, especially early in the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Only
yeah,
guy can scout quarterbacks.
the age and the injuries are serious concerns. So, I mean, that draft capital is crazy. So yeah, I mean, all right. What do you, where you want to take him? 203, 204?
Yeah. Yeah. It's splitting hairs. It just was a little lower than I thought.
So just to have a tailor-made QB3, is that what you're?
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got good weapons. Who's the coaching over there now? Oh, it's Kellen Moore. That's right.
Your boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
He's got a ring.
First show.
Did I show you the update yet?
You did. Yes. Oh wait. You showed me the licks update. Is there another
Yeah.
update?
No, that's the one.
Okay. Yeah.
I should make sure.
All right. Um. All right. So we've got 2 spots left in the first, in our pretend first round right here.
Yeah.
Could Caleb Johnson get in there for you?
Uh I guess so. Yeah, like I guess
Oh wait,
Caleb.
Burden? I mean, like I don't know.
No,
Like
no. Not me. Not me.
I mean,
Some people, yeah.
yeah,
Some people are gonna take him there.
he was already in the second round for me to begin with before this, and again, as I've said, we can't say anything with certainty. We're only speculating, but at the moment, things do seem a little, as far as how that's going to shake out. They do seem a little murky. As far as he's among 4 non-Cole Kmet targets right now.
Yeah.
That's not ideal.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's Samson, Scattaboo. I guess Sanders could sneak in there. But if that doesn't happen, if they don't go to the right places, the right landing spots, yeah, I guess it's gonna have to be Egbuka and Tyler Warren. And it'll be like the Waddle, Devontae Smith kind of pick where, like at best, where it's like, oh man, there's all these red flags. Taking them anyway.
Right, because he's going to get the Ben Johnson bump in some people's eyes.
Who's that?
Burden.
Oh, Burden. Oh, I was talking about Ibuka and Warren.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed
Red
that.
flags with the landing spots. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
both players, so I'll just take the talent and cross my fingers.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I and I told myself a couple weeks ago, I'm not going to obsess over a landing spot. Remember AJ Brown went to the Titans. Everybody hated it. It was terrible. And he was a league winner in his rookie season. Playing with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but to me, those are like the stories that kind of the exceptions that kind of prove the rule. Like, does talent matter? Does draft capital matter? But yeah, I mean, landing spot matters a lot, and maybe there's a grading scale for like it matters super a lot for quarterbacks, and then starts to decrease after that.
But
Or,
are we, I always say this to you, Brian, how good are we at judging the landing spot?
well, and I was just, as we started saying, Dynasty Twitter is going to be the death of me with all their certainty, but we do have to participate in rookie drafts that are starting soon, so we have to have some kind of right.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right. you know, it's tough. It's tough to know. Like we're not in their rooms. It's tough to know what they're gonna do.
Yeah. And
Packers
e
are
and
gonna
even and things even surprised them. I mean, I remember after, what was that, the 2023 draft? Um, they published that clip of the Bills, when they were picking Kincaid, right? And, you know, the guy who was in charge of analytics or something is like, best hands I've ever seen, right? And they were enthused, right? And the GM and coach like, we're gonna play 11.5%, like,
Yeah.
Fun fact though, um, I believe in PPR excluding premium, dating all the way back to the Mike Ditka 1961 year, Dalton Kincaid's rookie year was still 12th among rookie tight ends ever.
He's not been horrible. And it just seemed a lot of the time that they trusted Dawson Knox,
Mm-hmm.
a little more at times. Just being a pro, being a veteran pro, being in the right spots, picking up blocks where he should. Kincaid will get there. As far as being a pro, as far as being a fantasy, fantasy asset, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. He's definitely a hold for me. I'm not trading him for what I can get, but I'm certainly not acquiring Dalton Kincaid.
Right. No, that's for sure. I think his despite the fact that his rookie year was still 12th all time, he still has, I think, his career high receiving yards in a game is 54 or something like that. Like it's
Ouch.
yeah, I mean, it's tight end, man. Tight end gonna tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave checking in. What's up, Dave? Dave with the rebrand, no longer tying himself to the 6. Drake land. He says, I contain multitudes, and you're not just gonna nail me to one Canadian city. So we love Dave.
That was different language to me. I don't know, Dave.
All right, we've got
But hi, Dave. Nice to
Trey
meet you.
Harris to the Chargers.
Oh,
Interesting.
I
We were just talking about their offense.
love that. Oh man, if there's any more fun combination in this draft than Herbert and Trey Harris. Yeah, we were just talking about their offense, and this is exactly what they need. Line up outside, pummel people, just a yak monster. I mean, it's hard for me to say. It's either Trey Harris or Jalen Royals are just the two most dangerous men in this draft with the ball in their hands.
Okay, we haven't had a chance to talk about Royals yet, so you're bullish on Royals, huh?
I like Royals' yak ability. It's just amazing. That guy, but you're gonna have to manufacture those touches. He's not in the same level as Trey Harris as far as like I'm watching him run right now. He's just so big. So Trey Harris, long strider. Once he gets up to speed, hard to catch. And just like I said, just so nasty with the ball in his hands, can definitely get downfield. Good contested catch guy. I mean, I think Jackson Dart with the ball placement made him look really good at times.
And Lane Kiffin made him look really good too.
But the hands are good. And I think he's going to be an immediately beautiful fit. Complements Ladd really well. This offense is going to be fun to watch. Maybe I'm not so scared of Herbert anymore.
I'm not a Trey Harris guy.
No. What don't you like? I mean, he's got holes in his game, but I want to see. Yeah. I want to know which ones that really concern you.
Oh, okay. So, number one, old, best year was his 5th year. Number two, he has a 3rd-year breakout. Took him 3 years to have breakout level stats at Louisiana Tech. No, and even if you want to give him a little bit of a pass that he was a quarterback before that and the high school quarterback for Malik Neighbors, okay, fine. But still, that matters. It took you 3 years to reach breakout level numbers at Louisiana Tech. when you take out the production that he had last year against like cupcake parts of their schedule, it doesn't look very good, and it doesn't look very different from his teammate Jordan Watkins, who's like in my wide receiver 30s, who did better against the tough part of their schedule than um, than Trey Harris did. And then on top of that, how can I put it? Like Mississippi isn't as bad as Tennessee. I get that. It's not as gimmicky as Tennessee, but it's up there as far as how easy they make it. And like, there's just so many times where Trey Harris is just like wide open, or like, the routes he's running are just so limited as far as his tree. And he just like, oh, here's a route where I just turn around, show my numbers, and, be right. Like,
that's the one that kind of bugs me, is the limited tree. You're going to have to scheme a lot of stuff for him, but I mean, I think they can do it there. When you look at what they were doing with Quentin Johnston last year, if you just put Trey Harris in that role, it'll be nasty. So many balls that Quentin Johnston, all he had to do was just catch it, and he'd have been off. It'd have been a 50-yard touchdown. So they didn't draft Quentin Johnston, correct? He was the year before.
Wait.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Quentin Johnston the year before who?
Harbaugh and
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is them replacing him.
Yeah. Also, Trey Harris in 2022 and 2023, which are his last two full seasons, pretty high rate of contested targets. Like, it's good to be good at contested catches. It's not good to have a lot of your targets be contested targets.
Yeah, he's definitely not a separator. That's not what he does.
I mean, do I put my faith in Harbaugh and Roman and Justin Herbert and maybe bump him a little bit more because of that? Sure. I'm willing to listen to that. But just overall,
I just think
the
it's
profile, I never liked much,
I just think it's a perfect fit. He's like right up there at the top of the second round for me now.
Yeah. You'll probably have more of him than I will.
I'll take him over Shuck.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on. Well, am I?
And I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing his name wrong. It's Shug.
Shug.
Yeah, it's Tyler Shug.
Shug. What's up, Shug? Shug Knight.
Yikes. Just that name scares me. It instills fear in my heart.
So you didn't like Ibuka. That was your heartbreak. Was there anything from night one that you were like, this is my favorite fit?
Well, I mean, Genty and Hampton were just both perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, Genty's gonna be a first round redraft pick and a high one. It reminds me, it's as good a fit as Zeke to the Cowboys.
I'll buy that.
It's just tailor made. He'll probably be, yeah. For me, he's definitely a first round redraft pick. People are going to yell at me for that. Chris Harris won't like it, but
yeah. I mean, he was already in some best ball drafts going like late first, early second. So I don't think this is going to do anything to keep that price down, really.
Yeah, we talked about Golden. I really like that. I really liked Loveland when it happened. Bird in there too muddies it a bit, but I definitely think Loveland relegates Komet to just relative obscurity.
Yes, you're definitely bumping Komet down, but devil's advocate, because why not? they're two different types of tight ends. Some of the ways that Komet wins, he's still going to be able to win. Still good in the red zone. Buying any of that?
Not as far as fantasy goes. As far as eating into Loveland's production, yeah,
Okay.
could happen.
I think we kind of have a Kincaid Knox situation going on there.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Except they're both better versions of those players.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. I'd take Komet over Knox any day.
And I was kind of bullish on Komet going into the season. Giving him the Ben Johnson bump.
Yeah.
He had put together a good season, especially as far as, even though touchdowns are not sticky. He was scoring a few touchdowns there in Justin Fields. Best year on the Bears. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little.
Yeah, he's
bullish,
not. He's not a terrible. He's not a bad player. He's just been relegated.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I said it. I forget who I said it to last night, but if that's the best player that got drafted over last night, we're doing really well.
True. All right, so who I want to talk about? I want to talk about my boy Henderson.
Yeah, love the fit.
Okay, that my first reaction was, could be better. Wanted better.
This was the one I picked on.
I love Drake May
2 weeks ago,
but I wanted him to be in a place where there would at least where to oversimplify things, the sort of the bigger running back, the more thundery running back was going to not be quite as good as Ramondre, even though Ramondre is not what Ramondre used to be. I wanted him to be in a place where the thunder was a little less threatening. And I love Drake May, like love Drake May. At the same time, I don't know what this offense is going to unfold and what it's going to look like. If they're not moving the ball with other pieces, I mean, Steph Diggs right now is there, right? Like, unless Jalen Polk takes a step forward,
or is just used properly.
Sure, yeah, they were trying to make him play X a little too much.
Yeah, if Javon Baker takes a step forward, do they still have Booty to stretch the field?
Yeah,
that's not worthless.
Booty stretcher.
Yeah, booty stretcher.
Yeah, stretch that booty.
Yeah, man. No, I won't tell that story. Moving on. If a slow fumbler is the guy that Travion has to beat out, I am ecstatic.
Okay, you're making me feel better.
Ramondre's a jag at best. He's the guy they went to because Antonio Gibson sucks worse. Ramondre Stevenson can only beat out Antonio Gibson. Like, Ramondre Stevenson would lose his job to Jerome Ford. Not the same kind of runner, but I don't care. I'm telling you, a slow fumbler, don't worry about it.
I just saw a New England fan who does fantasy content say that Trayvon Henderson's the wide receiver 1 on the team already.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Did they take it? No, they didn't take it. Did they take a tight end?
No.
No, okay.
Right now it's Hunter Henry.
Oh, it's Hunter Henry. Oh, they got Hunter Henry. Yeah, he's crafty.
I think Austin Hooper is still there as the backup. So, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's just a question of, is the overall offense going to be effective and efficient enough for, Henderson to matter? Because he's going to get explosives. And PPR, love it, right? Like I was saying before, he could be as good on 12 touches as Hampton is on 18 some weeks. But the one place where, you can really ding Henderson is the between the tackle stuff, and it's like when we think about the high value, high leverage touches, I know that, the Lions even gave Gibbs carries within the 5-yard line as time progressed, but I just don't see him getting a whole lot of goal line looks, and when I think about high value touches being, goal line and receiving, he's only really getting one part of those high value touches.
Okay, but he's also not going to come off the field on third down.
Very true.
It's pretty much legendary at this point that he's the best pass protecting running back probably in a few years.
Oh, Tate Ratledge is such a Lions pick. You gotta love that.
I didn't see it. Who was it?
Tate Ratledge. You know who that is?
No.
That's the Georgia offensive lineman with the mullet.
Uh,
You might have seen a clip of him running at the combine, and people said it to Freebird. He was like doing the 40 in slow mo, and people put Freebird. But yeah, it was good stuff. Yeah,
okay. So
yeah,
he's gonna go bite kneecaps with Dan Campbell.
yeah.
Nice.
He's gonna be drinking Milwaukee's Beast in the back of the pickup truck in the parking lot after practice
Nice.
with Dan Campbell.
All right. Well, I mean, we're still in the second round, right? But I'm getting a
There
little
goes-
worried about some of
Ooh.
my running back boys.
All right, so Jack Bech to the Raiders.
Oh, did that just happen? Okay.
Yeah.
You're a little ahead of me. That's cool.
I'm on the draft tracker on the computer, which is exactly timed with the NFL Network YouTube TV broadcast, which is all behind Twitter. So I'm just
Which I'm on.
Yeah.
But I'm actually on the YouTube TV broadcast, but maybe I'm just a little behind. But that's good. Okay. Jack Bech. What do we think?
We like the offensive environment. We like Geno. We like, the fact that, you've got a solid running game in Genty. Here's the thing, though. I don't know that was an offense that I wanted to have a third, legit target on. I thought, if it was Jacoby Myers and Bowers, and that would make Myers a really solid value, and I've been trying to scoop him up. I liked that. You add Bech into the mix, you're probably forcing Myers outside a little bit. And he's a soldier. He's played outside when he needs to, played inside, right? I do think he's a little better on the inside, though. And so this kind of complicates things a little bit for everybody. If the offense overall is going to be that much better, which with Geno instead of AOC and Minshew and with Genty, we have to think it is, then okay, the pie might be big enough for Bech. If it's not going to be, and he's, or he's just very clearly third in the pecking order after Bowers and Jacoby Myers
in a run first offense,
then we might have some issues.
Yeah. So he's a strange prospect to me. There are some real funky things about his profile. Yeah. So number one, just his tape is not the type of player that I usually go for, right? He, like you said, he's a warrior. He's a battler, big, tough kid. He doesn't win in any of the ways that are easy for me to see. So he's the opposite of Jerry Jeudy in probably every way you could imagine. Attitude, desire, the way he wins. Everything is absolutely opposite of Jerry Jeudy. Yeah. And I was huge on Jerry Jeudy, right? Mm-hmm. So am I learning from my mistakes or am I overcorrecting if I go for Jack Bech? Mm. Honestly, my gut tells me big, slow dude needs to win over the middle. I'll tell you the number one red flag for me, and this is going to sound like I hate Jack Bech, and I don't. But the number one red flag for me is something from his reception perception profile that Matt Harmon has this thing where he's charts guys, and if they line up 3/4 of the time in one spot on one side of the field, that it's a huge red flag. And the list of names is ugly as shit.
It really is. Yeah.
And I just don't want anything to do with it, guys like that. So it scares me.
Yeah.
And I mean, the landing spot isn't amazing, but it's not bad. Geno's a big arm guy.
But we also have to, zoom out a little bit and remember that the biggest, stickiest, most correlative input in all this is draft capital, right? And they're making the bet on him at pick 58.
Okay, but it's outside the top 50.
True.
Which is where I like to see wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think this. It's right outside the top 50, so it's a little wonky, but I think the statistically shown pretty clearly that receivers succeed at a much lower rate outside of the top 50.
Well, I think you're slandering the next Puka Nakua, and how dare you, sir? How dare you?
Amen, bruh. Pukas and Amen, bruh. Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're the exceptions to prove the rules.
Speaking of Amon, bruh, and did you see Burden last night with the chip on his shoulder?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go work out at 12:50 at night and post.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show them. Like,
He should probably study. Like his game, like he's got all the athletic ability in the world. He needs to learn the game. But also, yeah, that was the other thing, the desire. That's been questioned in him, and that the drop off in film wasn't just because the offense sucked. It was because he kind of gave up as well. I can't get inside of a guy's head.
Sure. And to be fair, good draft capital, and like in Ben Johnson we trust. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to, bump him slightly from my thoughts about him, beforehand. But
He falls for me. I don't know. The rational human being in me.
I'm sorry. He was like mid-second for me. You know what I mean? And like, whereas everybody else kind of had him like late first. So
Same. So he's like a little lower in the mid-second for me now.
Okay.
But the rational, sane human being inside of me, which is only a little teeny
wait, who? What?
There's this little squeaky voice in the back of my head going, Rome and DJ Moore are going to get the targets. They're so much better. They're polished players compared to this guy. They're so much more talented. I don't know. Well, Burden is extremely talented and physically gifted. But those guys, I don't know.
Well, I mean, DJ Moore's not going to be there forever either. You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
He's towards the end of his contract.
Rome hasn't proved a damn thing yet. So
no Rome slander in this house.
Oh, I love him. Trust me, I love him. He's pretty much my number one off-season target.
Same.
But it's someone's on a week-to-week basis, someone's not going to eat.
Yeah. That's going to be like the whole like San Francisco, Green Bay, like who's going to hit this week kind of offense. At least that's the way it looks now. I don't want to say it is that because the ink isn't dry on the picks.
Sure. And the pie, it's going to have to be like Ben Johnson's Lions offense, where the pie is so big that everybody eats. And do we trust them with all these newly put together pieces? How quickly is it going to mesh? How good is Ben Johnson as a coach without Dan Campbell? Is Caleb Johnson even a good quarterback? Can he handle it?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, sure.
6-1, tomato.
Exactly. Who cares? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Who cares about names?
Speaking, and we haven't seen the Bears add to the backfield yet, which was surprising.
Very surprising.
Right now it's Swift and Roschon.
Yeah, I feel like they got sniped. Where Cleveland took Judkins,
yes,
and then the Patriots took Henderson, and they were like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I saw 39 and 41, and I was like, "Please, one of those be Hendo to the Bears, please." But
hey, my Swift shares are not sweating so hard. It would blow my mind after he like quit on Swift numerous times that Ben Johnson would go into a season with him as his number one back.
Funny, right? Yeah,
it really is.
Maybe
like him in particular,
Okay. Maybe it's Dan Campbell that hated Swift and Johnson was a little more neutral.
Ah, okay. Hey,
just throwing it out there.
All right, that's next level. the names that are still out there are getting
I
pretty
mean,
ugly as
Ben
far as pass
Johnson is
catchers.
like a spreadsheet EPA per pass play guy. He's not quite the kneecap biter. You know what I mean? Not that
Mhm.
not that Swift adds much EP. You know what I'm saying? All right, Mike Green and his slide has stopped to the Ravens at 59.
Okay. All right. That hasn't been announced here yet, but okay. Mike Green, eh? Ooh, Birds are coming up in a few picks.
Yes.
I have no idea. I have no idea as far as outside of skill positions in this year's draft. When we get to this point, I have no idea.
I know a little bit, but I'm starting to fade a little bit. I went ahead and just for, shits and giggles, I did a 3-round mock,
Yeah,
but when we started to get into like the mid-second with some of these guys, like I can't tell you like, oh, this particular edge fits this particular scheme. I'm just like, oh, this team needs an edge. Click on that,
yeah, exactly. Who's the top-rated player
Yeah.
at this position? Okay, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the season. This is gonna sound snobby as hell, but because the season lasted so long for the Eagles, it took me longer to get into draft. Because Howie has done such an amazing job the last few years, I don't feel like I have to do my research to tell him why he was wrong anymore, which I used to.
Yeah.
So I haven't just didn't dive into it. So whatever he does here, it's fine.
So let me ask Mr. The salary cap is fake. And Mr. Eagles fan, how you feel about the 2029, that's when that bubble's going to burst for the Eagles, because I have an answer to that that's actually one you might like.
They'll just push. They'll just push. Keep pushing it down the line. Really, what the answer is, they just won a Super Bowl, and it will push their revenue through the roof, and they'll just make a few balloon payments and be fine.
Yeah, the revenue piece is that I was going to add was more league wide. In 2029, that's when the NFL can get a new TV deal, and the speculation is that not only is it just going to keep going up and up and up because the cap keeps growing largely because of the TV revenue, but that they're going to move away more and more from the network TVs and get these deals from these streaming places,
Right.
and it's going to be lucrative. So
They have to be careful though, because they have to make sure that their product is accessible.
exactly.
That's one of the reasons the NFL became popular was Monday Night Football. Everybody could watch Monday Night Football.
So Goodell was on a certain
Broncos. Ooh,
right.
boom! I'm such a big fan of RJ Harvey.
Good luck getting him in the late second now.
No. Shit. That might be your 111.
That's bold.
It's bold. I don't know that I could do it, but man, we are getting some good ass landing spots for these running backs. Man.
Here's the thing with Harvey, all right? Again, I like him just fine. I see what everybody else sees. But there's enough there where taking it to the next level in the NFL, I could see it being a low ceiling play. And what I mean by that is he still has to clean up things with bouncing outside, with vision, things like that. And he's doing that in the Big 12, which is not very good defenses to begin with. So I
He's
would
so
have
sudden.
much rather had Denver, have like a guy like Henderson than Harvey.
You know what? I don't worry about that kind of stuff because he's now with Sean Payton. And you're either going to be coached young man or you're going to ride the pine.
Right. And he is a pretty good receiver. I think people don't understand how good a receiver he is, which is important in a Peyton backfield.
the way he presses the line and just explodes off of his cuts, it's sudden, it's electric. I love him as he's one of the most dynamic backs in this draft. Maybe 2 or 3 most dynamic backs in this draft. With Sampson and obviously Genty would be, and Henderson's up there as well. But I just the cutting ability alone, I'll take Harvey over Travion.
No.
And the way he manipulates and isn't just one gear the whole way, I love that. Oh, look at that catch in the end zone. Oh, that's not him. They moved off of him. Whew. Harvey. Well, all right. So, am I being proved wrong on my guy Dylan Sampson?
We both are.
You're high on him too.
But I kind of, I don't want to say knew, but thought there was the possibility that 2 guys that I like better than everybody else, Devin Neal and Dylan Sampson, would go lower than I wanted. Neal, because he's more of like a well-rounded high floor guy,
Yeah,
than an explosive guy. So there in his range of outcomes could very well be the type of running back where it's like, so let's say there's a backfield that has, again, oversimplifying a Thunder and Lightning, but like, an early down guy and like a more explosive, receiving back, right?
Mm.
He's the guy who's like, okay, I'm the backup that can do all of that competently enough. So that I'm not going to like see the field a lot because I can't do either one of those as good as the other guy can do that. So, and then as far as Sampson goes, I think people are seeing limitations with him when it comes to lack of receiving profile, when it comes to so much of his production coming against light boxes, and that he kind of has like a narrow needle to thread when it comes to that sort of thing. But I agree, I like him. Mike Renner, who I respect from CBS, had him as his running back too. So, yeah. Is there a landing spot, in say the early third, where you could still like Sampson above, say, RJ Harvey?
It's a good question. What would you think about KC?
Yeah, I mean, he gets a KC bump there for sure. Yeah.
Dallas, still.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas is a prime landing spot. I don't know. Throw a few out there.
All right, let me see. Hold on. Let me just pull up. So, because now the trades are in. So,
I would actually really like the Texans as an heir apparent to Mixon at this point.
Mm-hmm. And he's got juice, and Mixon can be Mixon, and
yeah,
Sampson can generate explosives. Giants. I went into this thinking the Giants were gonna not draft over Tyrone Tracy, but give him enough competition where he's a sell. Because he is what he is. He's a 25-year-old, former wide receiver, and kind of only, his production last year was, I think, largely had to do with, they had nobody else kind of situation. Then
but he looked good doing it. Yeah, he looked really good doing it, man. I watch a lot of Giants, being an NFC East fan, and he really surprised me how good he is. If Sampson were to go to the Giants, it would be extremely muddy, and I would hate it.
Right, because they still have Singletary there. Jaguars.
Gross.
I like it.
Terrible. They have 2 backs already that are good.
Etienne is not good.
Yeah,
he's playing out they've been saddled with the albatross of, to mix metaphors, of the former regime picking up Travis Etienne's 5th-year option. He's ass.
Oh wow, man, that is strong to quite strong. I'd like to see how Liam almost calling him Liam Neeson. He has a specific set of skills.
Yes.
I'd like to see
Saints.
how Cohen wants to do it.
Saints. Kamar's dust. Kendre Miller is we know how you feel about Kendre Miller. Not Kamar's dust. You know what I mean? He's aging.
Yeah, he's not dust. Yeah,
He's not explosive as he used to be, but
the Eagles traded down. Big surprise.
San Francisco. 29-year-old Christian McCaffrey.
Bears just traded up, by the way, so maybe this is their back. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. I'm just naming teams, like you.
Oh, San Francisco?
Cincinnati.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, that's a definite possible landing spot. I just wouldn't like it.
Chase Brown and Chuba Hubbard have been guys where I'm like, people are liking them a little too much. I think they're going to get company. And, because even then, like at the beginning, it may look like that, a guy like Sampson or Devin Neal is clearly the two, but those are beatable running backs. Like over the course of the year, post by rookie bump, those are running backs that can get beaten out over time, as opposed to some other spots where that's not true. Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers are definitely.
They really only have Jaylen Warren,
Oh, and Kenny Gainwell.
They only have Jaylen Warren.
I knew you were going to do that. You're welcome. I feel like
you set him up, I'll knock him down.
Yeah, I feel like Dean Martin right now. I wish.
Do you know a lot of times he had apple juice in those whiskey glasses and
really
pretending to be drunk? I mean, he was a drunk, but on stage, sometimes he was just kind of doing his shtick, and it wasn't whiskey. So the Bears trade up was Shamar Turner.
Yeah.
That's a big drop for Shamar Turner. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Shamar Stewart. Shamar Turner was from Texas A&M, who was on the same defensive line as Shamar Stewart.
All right, Chiefs pick is in. They need so much help on their offensive line.
And they went with a D tackle.
Oh, okay. Little run on D tackles here. It's weird that the Eagles traded down right before the run on D tackles with how they just lost one.
Oh, Eagles pick is in. This is coming quick. That's what she said. I mean, in Howie we trust, right? Like,
yeah, don't tell me the pick.
Okay, I won't.
I still haven't seen the Chiefs pick.
Oh, okay.
Omar Norman Lott. Oh, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah, some were saying that James Pierce is just like that linear straight line rusher, and that Omar Norman Lott is underrated because so many people were looking at the shiny James Pierce.
James Pierce has got all the ability in the world. I wouldn't worry about him unless, I wouldn't worry about his talent. I worry about him as...
I worry about the breadth of his talent, not the depth of it.
I just worry about the effort and the...
Yes, yeah. Did you see his non-reaction when he got picked?
Yeah.
Like, go back and look at that. Google that video. He was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it took him a few seconds to smile a little bit more with everybody like jumping around him.
Matthew Golden looked like he had to manufacture excitement, by the way. It did not look good. I don't think he wanted to go to Green Bay.
He's like, oh, cold. Fuck, it's cold up here.
Cold up there. It's 80 degrees in Jersey. It's 40 right now in Green Bay. Everybody's wearing coats.
Ridiculous.
Jihad Campbell. What a weird pick that was.
I mean, it was a value, people were mocking him in the mid-first before we got wind of that shoulder stuff. So,
yeah, well, the Eagles are not done after this draft, by the way. I expect a slew of free agent signings.
Speaking of, there are
there's a lot of good players out there.
A couple bodies out there where I wonder where they're going to be after the draft. Like Dobbins. Is Keenan Allen going to retire?
Right. Is Tyler Lockett going to retire?
He signed with Tennessee.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Like a 1 year, like $4 million plus a little bit of incentives kind of thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
And also
It's a good veteran presence to have around.
Elijah Moore. Not that like,
Oh yeah, that's
we
right. Yeah.
love him, but he's a guy that I would have thought would have signed by now with a bad rookie wide receiver class, or a perceived bad rookie wide receiver class.
I heard the best line ever describes Elijah Moore perfectly. I think it was Matt Harmon, actually. Yeah, Elijah Moore is going to get open downfield, or Elijah Moore is going to get open in the intermediate, but are you really going to find a quarterback that's ever going to want to throw it to him? And that's it.
Wait, we don't want to throw to open receivers now?
No, he's too small. They can't see him.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's funny like that, like he had like a fairly decent rookie year from what I can remember with bad quarterbacks on the Jets.
I don't know. I don't remember why they got rid of him. I guess he had a bad
Attitude. He was demanding a trade after
okay.
like the start of his second year. It might have been when Garrett Wilson was there.
That's because DK and AJ Brown were calling him the best ever.
Yeah, he wasn't getting enough targets, so he was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. All right. Can we try to makeshift our top 10 in a rookie draft now? Since we're going to, you got to do a mock tomorrow.
Yeah.
You got to do a mock.
So why would I be giving away all my secrets?
because I don't know. Maybe we'll play for something.
Mm.
I mean, Genty.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Actually, let's go back to Hunter at 102 because we never talked about. Like, let me give you the devil's advocate.
Okay.
All right. They drafted him and told him he's going to be given a chance to learn the defense and play on defense, and he never really commits enough to offense to learn his craft and to polish up the things that he needs to. Because as I think everyone that studied him knows that he's unpolished as a route runner. He gets open because of athleticism and who he's playing against, and that it will not work in the NFL, right? So he has to be a lot more precise, a lot more technical. So he concentrates so much on defense that he never really gets there on offense, and it's more of the team wants to make a big splash and Bo Allen, nice, and make a big splash and highlight him, and he makes every third down play on offense and defense, that kind of thing, but never really becomes a volume offensive player.
That's pretty much the exact case I made when we last spoke. So I'll buy that. What I will say is I think that part of the range of outcomes became a little smaller because the coach or somebody said that he's gonna start as a wide receiver to get him in the room with those meetings, and then eventually he'll start meeting with the DBs as well. Mm-hmm. So that gives me a little bit of I think for me it's like, how risk averse are you? How much are you going to chase ceiling and upside? Right.
Yeah, ceiling and upside. I mean, he's got top 5 dynasty wide receiver potential.
Because if the alternatives, I think at 102 at the moment seem to be Ward and Tet
and Hampton. Brian, I think Hampton is going to
102.
I think Hampton is
with Tet having gone number 8 as a clear alpha in Carolina, and with Travis Hunter, who people were already putting at 102 and forgetting about Hampton, saying he's going to be primarily a wide receiver. How can you justify Hampton at 2?
I think Hampton was the consensus 102 coming in.
Hunter was starting to be the consensus
102. He was getting there, right? But then the landing spot in draft capital, it's confirmation bias for the people that liked him there. It's just going to cement it. So I think you're going to have maybe 40% of people will take Hampton at 102. And then maybe 20% will take Cam Ward, and then another 40% will take Hunter. That's kind of how I see it.
Okay, so all right, all right, so valid. So I think for me, if I'm looking at those three options, I rank Hampton third among those options, right?
Okay.
Huge ceiling on Hunter. And two, Ward is a quarterback in a super flex with probably top 12 quarterback upside. And then Hampton, who's a running back, who, is a running back and, could be not much different from, like what's the low end of his career, right?
Najee,
Like Mixon.
Najee Harris.
Yeah.
No, Mixon had a good career. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah. He had a couple spike years. That's true. Yeah. Okay. So maybe the low range of Hampton is like
Najee Harris.
last couple of years of Mixon. Or okay, yeah, Najee Harris. Okay, yeah. Right. So like to me, that's almost no question. But again, I'm probably biased because going into this, I was like how can you spend the 102 on Hampton anyway? You know what I mean? Like I was already ready to fade that.
But the high end on Hampton is what we thought. I mean, it's the same. It's like Jonathan Taylor's.
I was gonna say Jonathan Taylor without the injuries.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Jonathan Taylor without the injuries is perfect.
That's fair.
That's the high end. And then the high end for Hunter is
like Justin Jefferson.
I was gonna say OBJ.
Well, yeah, no,
that's who he reminds me of.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think Harmon said prime OBJ is a good comp. So I can.
But then the low end is defensive back.
Right.
There's a chance that he doesn't stick at wide receiver and just moves to defense, right? It's probably a low chance though, and that would take a while.
So who's Andrew Makuba?
I don't know.
Safety, yeah, okay.
Safety, I don't know. Texas, at least he went to a big school. That's all I know about him.
Chiefs pick is in at 66.
What? Jason Sehorn has been living his life in Florida, huh?
I'm not looking at the TV.
Man, he is a bronzed god.
Oh, I'm looking at Darius Alexander highlights right now from the Senior Bowl. Where did you see Jason Sehorn?
He announced the pick.
Oh, okay.
So they needed another defensive lineman?
Can never have enough defensive linemen.
I guess.
Well, listen, when your quarterback is Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and hopefully Jackson Dart turns into something, you probably want a good defense.
I hear you, but they don't have enough linebackers already. So
an offensive line was a need for them as well. So
offensive line's always a need for them. They've whiffed so many, they have some good offensive linemen, but they've who is the one real?
Evan Neal was a big bust,
Neal,
right?
Yeah, really big bust. Yeah. And I think they had another one. But John Michael Schmitz is good, and they finally got a good left tackle last year, right?
Every time did they?
I thought they did. I thought they settled that down. They signed some guards last year too.
Every time I hear John Michael, I hear in my head it's John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
His name is my name too.
Yeah. I know that's silly and immature, but every time I hear it, my brain goes John Jacob.
Ashton Gillot. Sounds like a delicious Italian ice cream dessert.
That's O-line, right?
D-line.
D-line. All right. I knew it was one of the trenches from my expert 3-round mock that I was doing the other day.
I would assume they're just going to hammer the trenches this entire draft.
They still haven't taken an offensive lineman though.
Oh, have they gone all defense?
I don't think they have. I got to go back and look, but they just got their asses handed to them because they couldn't. And Joe Thuney left. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Whew. Man, I am hitting the wall.
All right.
No.
So
I'm gonna hang. We're gonna
let's
finish
let's
the sucker out.
let's wrap it up as far as the not wrap it up, but as far as this first round goes, because we were
Okay.
arguing about the
Yeah,
utility
yeah,
of Hampton at
yeah. We can't
102.
even get past the second pick.
Right. Okay. So let's say those are your three choices at 102. Right. Do you think that it's fair that Tet is among those choices as well as Ward, Hampton, and
I think
Hunter?
it's fair. I just have him a tier down.
Okay.
And I do have Cam Ward in that tier, but I'm just gonna find it really hard to take him because of how much quarterbacks bust. I see myself waiting and taking like Dart.
Here's the thing with that though.
I mean, if I have a pick, if I have a later pick or I don't know, trying to trade down, that kind of thing.
I totally agree with you as far as bust rate for first round quarterbacks, right?
So to spend such a high pick on it, I'd rather like trade down, try to get another first, get a quarterback and somebody else.
And I
Would be
also
lovely.
agree that um, we tend to overpay for quarterbacks in Superflex, but they're at their cheapest in rookie drafts. And if you're going to tell me that a quarterback taken 101 with that kind of value insulation, you know, um,
Yeah, that's true.
throwing to Ridley and Lockett right now with an improving offensive line and Pollard and Spears.
Callahan scares me a little bit.
Okay, that's
Here's
fair.
what scares me about Callahan. You're right. You're 100% right. And just to hammer that home a little bit, I tried to get Bo Nix with the 102 a month or two ago, and it was like a no-go.
Mm.
I did end up getting him, and it was a weird mix of picks. It was like a 27 first, 201 and 202, and maybe a 26 second.
Mm.
So it was but that's a lot, and like I said, I couldn't get him with 102 alone. So yeah, you're right. It's a good point that this is the cheapest they'll ever be, or this is the cheapest way to get them.
Yeah. So okay, so we have five guys. Let's hold on. Let's throw Ted in there. Now we got six. All right.
I mean,
So
I'm taking both Ohio State guys probably over Tet at this point.
okay, so that
But it's
makes eight.
all going to depend on team need. Those three guys are in a tier for me.
Okay. So that's eight guys. And Loveland at 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take Loveland over Golden probably. I don't know. See, that's going to be a tough choice. It's going to depend on team need. I think Golden has a clear path to immediate dependable fantasy points.
Here's it's going to be everything's always league dependent, but there's a chunk of the dynasty community that is, and they're right as far as uh, uh, that this is true and it's something to have a red flag about, but there's a good chunk of the community that is there. The whole thing is Fannin just went, hold on, is that as far as a production profile for a first round wide receiver, Matthew Golden would be like the worst in like a long time.
I understand that.
And he's like a 6-game wonder and that kind of thing. So if you're in a league where like you've got those type of people on the Golden fade, that's going to work into the value. So Harold Fannin to the Browns.
Weird.
With Njoku already there.
Yeah.
Who, is, I think he had that contract. I forget how many years into it he is, like 2 years maybe. My fear with Fannin has always been that he will end up in a forever Isaiah Likely role, and and it looks like that's kind of true here because he theoretically is the tight end 2 on the team right now.
Yeah, funny. That's my fear for Isaiah Likely as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good call.
So yeah, Kyle, I'm sorry I didn't see you in the chat there. I was looking at the draft tracker and rankings and things like that. So more time goes on, I'm having a harder time ranking Ward lower than 102 in a super flex. So he's really leaning into that, cheap quarterback situation there, which is fair. He's going to go 102 in some drafts.
Yeah. So back to Callahan. What concerns me is that the lack of any catering to Will Levis at all whatsoever last year, and just this is my offense. You can run it or get out of town is kind of what it seemed like to me. Obviously, that's not his guy. This is now his guy. He's gonna stroke him gently. He's gonna wrap a warm blanket around him. He's gonna hold him close next to the fire, and like
chest
that,
to back, like bare chest to his back.
Yeah, it's gonna be. There's a '70s song that I hear quite a bit on Yacht Rock now that is a little bit rapey. It's something like
Chevy Van.
No, it's not Chevy Van, but that one's pretty bad too. But it's something like
I want to kiss you all over.
No, I want to hold you close. If it don't feel right, you can go. Why did you have to just tell me that I can go? That's implied in every situation that I can leave, right?
Yeah.
On a cool night, just let me hold you tight by the firelight. If it doesn't feel right, you can go. I don't know. It just gives me a creepy vibe. You shouldn't have to tell me that I can go.
But I mean, the person is saying if it doesn't feel right, like, they're not saying if it doesn't feel right to you, too bad because it feels right to me.
Sure, but that would be really way too honest. It's sort of like the guy that tells you that says honestly or trust me all the time. Why do you, and anyone that tells me that they're being honest with me makes me feel like they're not being honest with me.
Okay,
So if you tell me I can go, it makes me feel like I can't.
Are we in a baby it's cold outside situation now? Is this
maybe a little, yeah. It's like, on Always Sunny because of the implication.
right? Yes. So
Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's getting hurt here.
The implication.
Exactly.
So Kyle just checked. Njoku is in the final year of his deal. So that's not nothing.
Could we have a sort of scrubby, gross Browns McBride Ertz situation?
Yeah, except both are.
It's like smelly.
I don't want to do like just racial pattern matching, but like both of the guys on the Browns seem more athletic than the McBride Ertz pairing.
Okay, I mean, McBride catches everything athletic, like circus catches and shit. I mean, I don't know.
That's a good call by Kyle. The Browns have passed on Shedeur Sanders 4 times. And Shug went ahead of him. And he wasn't the first Sanders drafted. TJ Sanders, the defensive line.
Famously off the Giants board completely.
Yeah. Oh, here's Kyle Williams to the Patriots. That's interesting.
Oh, like it.
Would have liked to have seen a little bit higher as far as the draft capital goes, but he's got a winnable path now because Diggs is aging and he's more closer to the line of scrimmage now, like he was with the Texans. We have to think that's probably within the range of outcomes for Diggs because of his age. And now you're looking at Booty, Polk, and Baker and Bourne. Those are all like wide receiver 3s right now, unless as we said before, they take the step up. So that's a clear path. And Drake May makes my nipples hard every time I think about him. So Kyle Williams just became a second round rookie pick if he wasn't already.
Is Kyle Williams in a different way? Not saying that they're the same type of player, but is he this year's Jalen Polk?
Meaning
supposed to be this polished plug and play kind of guy, low ceiling, high floor, just like a pro from the start, and it didn't happen with Polk. So, I don't know. They feel similar as far as the ceiling floor profile, I guess.
I think the Williams most prominent backers, the people that have him in like, top 5 wide receivers for the class, would say that the ceiling was higher.
That's my co-host Austin Bell, by the way.
Oh, he likes Kyle Williams that much?
Yeah, I think he had him 5. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got to 9 with Williams, but
I think I had him right after Royals.
there, if you like Kyle Williams, there's a really interesting pick that just happened, by the way. If you like Kyle Williams a lot, you will say that he can play on the outside more than some people think and won't have to kick inside as much.
No, I think he can play outside. Yeah. Actually,
So,
I mean, he's not huge, but he's thick, and I think he can definitely win outside.
so
Are you talking
from
about the Lions pick?
yeah, from super experienced and polished 5th-year player with a high floor to a traits pick with Isaac Tesla, which is apparently how you pronounce his name,
I've
to the Lions.
I've been hearing this guy a lot lately. I guess it's McShay. I think McShay and Harmon actually are on him. Both kind of picked him as guys they really liked, but didn't think that he'd go day 2. They definitely thought he was a day 3 guy.
This is higher than I expected, which would make me think that it's more likely than it was a few minutes ago that that J-Mo gets traded.
All right, so you're catching me sleeping on Tesla. Give me his profile. I haven't watched
so he started at a small college named Hillsville or something like that, and then transferred to Arkansas. And by the time he got to Arkansas, they kind of already had their depth chart, figured out, and he didn't really get too much run. He's just a big athletic guy that people are betting on as like, a great bet for dynamic big slot. Let me pull up some stuff on him. Trying to find him in my spreadsheet here. But yeah, that's more or less the long and short of him. Apparently, though, also kind of MAGA, so he's kind of off my board because he's conservative. Transferred from Hillsdale, size speed combo, soft hands, good with contact. 2024. His efficiency bumped to a 14 ADOT, 100% catch rate for on-target passes. His production at Hillsdale was like through the roof, but if you adjust for program strength, if you're if you have like a model and you're adjusting for program strength, that's his whatever 5+ yards per route run isn't really going to count for much there. And it's a bet on traits, and he was looking really good when the wide receivers were running patterns and catching at the combine for when the quarterbacks were throwing. He made some really good deeper, like over the shoulder catches.
It sound like he could take over that used to be Josh Reynolds and then Tim Patrick role.
Yeah, no, that's probably a better bet than I was just saying that J-Mo might be traded. That's probably more accurate. Yeah. Although I think he played inside more, but yeah, below 2 yards per route run in both seasons at Arkansas, which is not great.
Yeah.
And his yak numbers for a guy with his athleticism also not great. I mean, I thought he was day 3. Like, this is like way higher than I thought he was going to go. So,
yeah, that's what I heard about him was day 3.
In Brad Holmes, we trust.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to be drafted him before the 3rd or 4th round.
That's a guy who's going to be interesting. That's a guy who's going to get overdrafted in your rookie drafts that I'm still going to want to have like a couple shares of just in case.
The hair is bad. The hair is bad. The hair is really bad on this kid.
He's got some lettuce.
Yeah, exactly.
I like lettuce. As someone who's bald and used to have long hair to my shoulders, I love it. Speaking of a good head of lettuce, so remember I sent you that that tweet last night that like just looking at Jackson Dart, I get Zach Wilson vibes. Like nothing having to do with the way he plays, right? He just seems like just an annoying rich white boy that, like, whatever. They went to the same high school. I just found that out today.
That's hilarious. Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, that is not good.
Where is that? Somewhere in California?
No, I think somewhere in Utah.
Oh, so he's a Mormon.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know what that says about a person, to be honest.
Probably things that I shouldn't say on a live stream. All right. Roy High School, his first 3 years before transferring to Corner Canyon High School in Draper, Utah. I don't know, man. I don't know. You still want to take him 10th over in your rookie check?
Jackson Dart, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know,
mean,
man. He just looks like the type of, here's the thing. And I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to lose listeners. But, there's this like archetype of like Zoomer white boy with hobbit hair and like tapered jogger sweatpants that just says facts all the time and bet. And like, that's who I see when I see Jackson Dart. I want to smack him in the face.
I mean,
this is the analysis that people come for, by the way. I just,
give me the guy that's attached to Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, that's true. Well, okay, so interesting.
And I don't think you have to wait a year, by the way, either.
No, probably like later in the season, yeah.
Yeah, Russell's going to play himself out of that job. And Jameis isn't, I don't believe that he is even the backup. Like, he's the backup in name. And he'll have the locker space of the backup. And in the QB room, he'll be the backup.
He's the mascot.
Right. But when it comes time for them to make the change, they're just going to go to Dart.
Okay. Couple scenarios to play out here. Tommy Cutlets has some friends who arrange something, and Jackson Dart has an accident.
Runs into a guy named maybe Jeff Galooly. Maybe I may have or may not have heard of this person before or after this supposed.
Oh no! They killed Joey Air in the box, but you see that Family Guy bit?
Yeah.
So, fun fact: Trey Harris was Malik Neighbors' high school quarterback for a little while. Yeah. Trey Harris then caught passes from Jackson Dart, who is now throwing to Malik Neighbors.
I think I had heard somebody put that together.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, right on. Bills are up. If the Bills take a running back, man.
I thought the Broncos were up.
Landon Jackson, edge.
Oh, yeah, you are behind me. Okay.
Jeez, I'm really far behind.
I got this is a little further down than Landon Jackson I thought he was going to go. But again, I'm no defensive line expert. Like, if you asked me to take a quiz about a 4-eye and a 3-tech and a 5-tech and a 9-wide, I don't know that I get much right about that.
He's got a really weird shaped head for a guy that shaves his head.
That's bold. That's bold. If you're going to go with the shave, you should have.
He's been doing it since he was like 8. Look at these pictures.
Who? Which one are we talking about here? Landon Jackson?
Yeah. What's wrong with him? I'm sorry, but he looks like Lance Armstrong when he had his issues.
Which issues?
Testicular cancer.
Okay. Or was that because he had PED issues too?
Well, that was the recover from the cancer.
Oh, how the Jets going to fuck this up?
Oh, is he different? Does he have a hair issue?
Oh, like alopecia or whatever?
I hope I didn't. Oh, God.
So, fun story. 2021,
I'm the
maybe.
worst person.
I was doing live stream for Fantasy and Frames, and just like now, I had the NFL Network on mute. I was talking to people online, and there's this kid doing this. Azaria Thomas fell this far? He's a cornerback. Some people were mocking him in the first round in the beginning of the process. That's interesting.
Huh.
So so I had this monitor, right? And there's one of these like, guests that are announcing the pick, and there's this kid like just doing this like he's like dancing around and being silly, and I'm like, and I just make a comment like, who the hell is this silly? And it was like one of the Make-A-Wish kids. I was like,
Good
oh.
job, Bri.
I was like, oh man.
Nice.
That's why you don't make comments on who's making the pick if you got it on you, you know?
All right, I'm gonna roll through my top 10 real quick, and then you can roll through yours before we get out of here.
Okay.
All right. I'm just gonna say it. It's Genty, 2 Hunter, 3 Ward, 4 Hampton, 5 Henderson, 6 Judkins, 7 Tet, 8. Yeah, that feels really comfortable having Tet there. 8 Loveland, 9 Golden, 10 Dart, 11 Agbuka, 12 Warren. And then I think maybe Trey Harris. Yeah. Trey Harris, and then who am I missing? Before Shug.
As far as guys who did you say Ward? You said Ward, right?
Who?
Ward.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A 3.
Yeah.
Oh, Higgins. I have a Higgins probably 2.
Yeah. For me it's Genty, Hunter, flip a coin, Ward and Tet. I still am okay taking Henderson over Hampton, but flip a coin with them for 5 and 6. And I'm still okay with 7 and 8 being Egbuka and Golden in some order. I'm still okay with the tight ends being 9 and 10 in some order. And I'm still okay with Judkins barely making it into the end of the first. Don't love him, even though, I do have to make an acquiescence to draft capital. So I will have him ahead of Samson and Neal, who he's behind right now. And then the 12th person is probably Dart. But, yeah.
I'm sorry, where did you have Egbuka again?
I have Egbuka and Golden 7 and 8 pre-draft, and I don't know that I have much to, I'd probably put the tight end, at least Loveland, maybe above at least one of those receivers. You know what I mean? But I think for me, it's more about like, okay, you've got Genty, right? How big is your second tier, right? For you, it's
3 players.
Who? Hampton,
Hunter, Ward.
Okay. And for me, it would be like Hunter, Tet, Ward, right? And so then how big is the tier 3?
3 players.
To me, it starts to get a little bigger there. To me, like Travion, Hampton, you can sneak Loveland in there, especially in a 0.75 or higher. Like I'm starting to be okay with a broader range of guys there. The bucket to me gets a little bigger.
I'm more like, Judkins, Travion, and Tet, and not in that specific order, but that's the next tier.
Mm-hmm.
And
so right now you're solidly okay with Judkins above both Egbuka and Golden.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm not there yet.
100% for me.
But I think I was kind of already lower on him to begin with. So
just the volume, Stefanski offense. I'm in.
That's fair.
It's Jerome Ford. Come on, he's tailor-made to be Judkins' second guy. He's not even going to be a 1B. He's tailor-made to be the change of pace guy.
All right, so I like your tier two guys. Kyle's saying he has 4 players in tier two with both wide receivers. So I guess that means you're saying, Kyle, that's Tet and Hunter and Ward and Hampton. You're having Hampton in that tier. Let me know in the chat what you meant by that, because I don't know whose tier two you were talking to, whether it was me or Jesse.
Yeah. So, real quick, I guess we got to go soon.
Well, there's no the host who is going to take over at 10 is not taking over. So,
Oh.
you're free to stay or free to go if you. Oh, Pat Bryant going a little earlier than I thought.
Who?
Going to
Oh, wide receiver, right?
yeah, he just
Wow,
went.
he just went.
He just went to Denver. Yeah,
Weird.
that's interesting. Considering my well-known love for Devon Vele. No, I'm just kidding.
I love that the NFL hates Alec Alamine.
Same, yeah.
I'm Imanor. That's how you
Yeah.
told me to say it, right?
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. Yeah,
I love that they hate him.
me too. He was one of those guys when we were talking to me and Kyle the other night on Saturday night. I brought him up as like a rookie riddle. Like, I can see the case that people are making, but like I'm lower on him than everybody else. All right, so yeah, Kyle's saying his tier two is Ward, Hampton, Tet, and Hunter. That's fair. Yeah, and you know what? I'm definitely in the minority as far as like not having Hampton in that tier. You know?
I'm probably the minority not having Tet in that tier.
Yeah,
I mean, at one point a couple weeks ago, Tet was like my 102.
I don't know, so like what has really like fundamentally changed where he would be like not even in the mix with it with Ward and Hampton.
I got there with Ward. You know, I got there, like I had Ward at 102 at one point. Like that was my first change when I took Tet out of 102. I put Ward there. And then, the draft capital, like you said, of the built-in insulation, and then the landing spot for Hampton. And the more and more that I got reassured that Hunter is going to be a primarily wide offensive player, the more I got there with him and his upside. And it's for him, it's ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
He's a blue chipper where I think Tet is just a notch below. I don't dislike Tet, but I just as a potential NFL player, he's a notch below.
That's fair.
Top of their,
I would say
hit their 90th percentile outcome.
Okay, so I would say I'm with you as far as different tiers of potentially different tiers of NFL players if Hunter's develops and dedicates time to being like a technician at wide receiver.
I do see Ted as safer though.
But fantasy wise, I don't know that the gap is going to be all that big, because I think when you got Canales and Bryce Young showed that he was figuring things out. He's clearly the one there. I mean, who's gonna like Thielen, Leggett? I like Coker. I'm a Coke head, but like let's be real about who he is. Like, I don't know. Kind of seems like exactly what Bryce Young needed.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they didn't take him. Like, they didn't take him just because he was a wide receiver available. He was the exact type of wide receiver they were looking for.
I will say this. I agree with you that if the philosophy is ceiling and upside wins championships, which, it does, then yeah, I could see pulling Tet out of that tier with Hunter. But I can't get Hampton in it. I'm not budging on that.
Okay. I think a lot of people are like you, where there's one player that they can't get there on.
And the thing is, for
you, it's two players. It's Hampton and Judkins.
I really like Amari Hampton. Like, he's my RB3. He's been in the same tier with Henderson like forever. Like, I like Hampton a lot. Like, I'm going to have some Hampton. Like, and I'm looking forward to having some Hampton. I was just never on board with the like he's clearly the 2 and he was the 102. Like, I was never there
No, I
with
was
him
never
being the
there either.
102. And that I think is maybe coloring what I'm saying. Yeah.
Travion was my number 2 coming in. Number 2 running back.
Mhm.
All right, we gonna land the plane soon. Do you want to talk real quick about anything you watched lately?
No, but you need to talk about something.
Oh, that's right. Springle Jangle. Remember we talked about Jingle Jangle?
I'm not sure that we talked about what's Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle is all of the holiday treats that Trader Joe sells, all mixed into one holiday tin.
Oh, okay.
And it's my favorite thing over the holidays. My favorite treat over the holidays. That and some peppermint vodka, and some cranberry vodka. But they now make a spring mix. Springle Jangle. It's
Okay.
yogurt covered pretzels
That are in pastel stripe yogurt.
Correct. Little mini peanut butter cups.
Mm.
Like M&M type candies.
Mm-hmm. And pastels.
Candy coated nuts of some sort.
And
then there's like some kind of graham cracker, dark chocolate bark. I'm telling you, it's badass.
Looks like you got some nonpareils in here too. Where
that's right.
The little thingies are pastel thingies instead of all white.
Yes, non-parallels. They're delicious. That's how they got their name.
The perpendiculars.
That's how they got. No, that's how they got their name for real. Because they cannot be paralleled. It's I sat there. I had family over yesterday, staying the night. 3 kids under 10 years old. I sat there eating it in front of them and didn't offer them even a little bit.
Nice. That's what
they have
supposed to do.
They have horrible parents that have made them gluten-free, so they weren't allowed to have any anyway.
Fuck them kids.
Yeah. Those snot-nosed bastards.
Are you saying that you don't want to go through the next 24 picks with me?
No, I'm saying I definitely do, but I'm fading, man.
I hear you. No, yeah. I took a brief little nap earlier today, but otherwise I'm pretty much on my Friday exhaustion as well.
I tried, but my wife woke me up with a Brady Bunch song for some reason. Like literally blaring in my face.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
What was there a particular reason for
she
that?
She thought it was funny. It was like, hey, you remember this? It was the one where Peter, like, his voice cracked or whatever.
But you were asleep.
I was like, had just dozed off. I was enraged.
Okay.
But enraged for me is like, I gave her a dirty look.
That qualifies as terrorism.
I agree. Domestic terrorism.
You don't mess with a person's Friday nap. Like that's.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, folks.
Yeah,
so we are going to shut things down because I'm probably not going to be sitting here solo talking to no one. Jesse, why don't you tell everybody about Dynasty Front Office and all that jazz?
Yes, sir. Dynasty Front Office starring me, Chad Mendoza, Austin Bell, and sometimes Mike Casper on the Dynasty Warzone Network. Thursday nights live, usually around 10 o'clock. Chad's usually a few minutes late. And then we come out on podcast on Saturdays if Memphis Young remembers to publish us. Lots of changes come in the offseason for us, so stay tuned. We're going to be way more active on Twitter. Not going to give you our Twitter handle because that's all going to change. What else? Oh, doing a live mock with Brian Ford and 2 of my co-hosts tomorrow at noon. So catch us on the DWZ network on YouTube. And we're going to mock this all out, and we're going to argue this all over again after I sleep on it.
All right. And I wasn't positive that the mock was live, but
oh yeah,
I'll make sure I'm all gussied up and pretty for you. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Kyle.
always fun.
Energy could have been better. I apologize. I'm a chef, and it's a Friday, so it's been a long week.
All right. I will be cooking up. I don't know. I'm trying to do a Kyle level segue, and I can't do it. So you can find me at Twitter on Twitter at ffjunkie_. You can find me on Blue Sky at Flesh Farm Leftover. That's always fun. It's better than Twitter. Twitter is nonsense. Dynasty Twitter is going to be the death of me. Josh Walker, my co-host for Dynasty Saturday Night 5, is going to be getting back in the swing of things at some point this offseason. We're going to be a little bit more regular with the episodes. And then Jesse and I will, when we can, put out episodes of Dynasty Fever, more of a long form situation where we talk for about 2.5 hours, lots of rabbit holes and sidetracked with jokes and that kind of stuff. So everybody enjoy the rest of night 2. Enjoy day 3. We will have coverage here from the beginning. Kyle, the MVP of GF2, will be hosting for at least 4 hours tomorrow. So come watch day 3 right here where you're watching us right now.